Welcome back, it's Evan57 here. Today I am back on Crossout, and I'm just going to give you some general tips and tricks for starting out, if you so desire to start playing the game. So you might know these already, you might not know these, just going to be a few odds and ends, probably about 10 of them, and I hope that you enjoy, because these are issues that I ran into when I first started the game. So as you can see, I do have a relatively built vehicle here. Definitely not the best. Still working hard to do this. But the first thing I'm going to give you is a bit of a currency explanation. You have fuel, which is the resource that you need to do raids. You have coins, which this is your buying currency, the actual amount of XP that you need to level up. And then you can also change factions, of which there are multiple different ones, and you can pick a second faction after you reach level 10, and you can change factions once per day. So there is a whole bunch of stuff that was almost overwhelming when I started with trying to figure out what I needed and what I could use. If you guys seen my first impressions video, I was all excited about getting a cannon, and then I didn't like the cannon and it was pretty much junk. So you are going to need scrap, you are going to need wires, electronics, and copper and fuel. You need the fuel to get the copper, which comes from raids. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of different stuff that you will need, and it can seem a little bit overwhelming. So my first tip that I would advise you on is, of course, just to make sure that you log in every day. The daily reset is 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and that will allow you to claim daily rewards. I do not have the ability to show you because I have finished the daily rewards, and that is what gave me these stop sign fragments, which is an XP booster. But the biggest thing that you get is you get a lot of scrap metal, which you can also sell, but you do need for crafting. You can also get some of these DIY crates, which brings me to tip number 2. If you are going to be serious in the game, every day you will get a Wasteland Dweller challenge, which is to spend 120 minutes in the game in a day. You also have a Veteran challenge, which is once per week for 14 hours, both of them giving you crates. And you will get a daily mission that will give you scrap, which that little bolt icon or nut icon, depending on how you want to look at it, that is for scrap. There's a blue circle, blue round circle, that's for wires, and a purple square, which is for the microchips. So that determines the currency that you will get. Bringing me to tip number 2. Any of these crates that you get, especially the DIY crates, I would recommend that you sell them. So I'm on the Xbox One. You can basically press Y, and that'll bring a option menu up for open, buy, sell, or trade. Those are the quick sell / quick buy prices. If you go to trade, then it will show you, like, you can sell one for 12.5 coins. You click on sell, and it will bring up a fully customizable screen that you can go ahead and say, okay, I want to put this up for 12 coins exactly, and then the market takes a 10% cut, which it'll show you how much you get. Then you can list it, and it basically sells instantly. Now, in my opinion, that is tip number 2. Sell all of these crates. I'm going to go ahead and open one to show you. With these crates, you have a very low chance of a blue item. So keep in mind, I just sold the crate for 12 coins, took 10 coins home, and I got a white cab that's worth 0.16 coins. So it's basically not worth it. This is something that you will see on the forums and everything. People are saying sell the crates, and I totally agree with them. Sell the crates. They're not worth it. Like, again, I got a white, and I've opened many of these crates. Every single crate that I've opened has given me a white item. So yes, it is very tempting to open them because you could get a blue or even a very, very slim chance at a purple, but as you've seen, right in between 2 blue items and I get a white item. I've probably opened 50 of these crates already because you can make them with scrap and they are not worth it. They are not worth it by a long shot. So just sell them. As you can see, they're junk. Then that brings me to the next type of crate, which is the blue crate, the Wanderer's crate. This is a different one. I would also recommend selling this one. You can sell it for approximately a take-home amount. I would say I'm not going to get 285 for it. I'd probably get the 190, maybe 200. So if I put it up at 200, let's see, I think I would take home 180 after the trade house cut, which is probably better than what you would get from it. This Wanderer's crate comes from the season mission. It does not come from this 14-hour task. The 14-hour task actually can give you a white item, so I recommend selling that. This item right here, the loot container, sell that, definitely. The Wanderer's crate is from my tip number 3, which is to make sure that you do these seasons. These seasons are a 2-week long, basically, event that you're going to have to do a series of 6, 7, 8 tasks, and they vary every week. The first one is the easiest to do, and it is a reward of scrap. You get a little bit of scrap per one that you do, and then you get a big reward at the very end. Now, the thing of it is you have to manually start each task, and then when you finish the task, you have to come back to the screen and press X to get the reward. The one in the middle, this is a harder one to do because it has to be in medium raids. Most of the parts do, and it does give you wires, and then it gives you this Wanderer's crate, which can hold any rare item except for wheels. Now, at least with this, you are basically guaranteed a rare item. The very last task, which has to be completed, a lot of it in hard raids, so this is a very difficult one to get, but you can get the Pathfinder's crate, and it is guaranteed to hold an epic part except for tracks, because sadly everybody wants tracks. So if you can do this season, you definitely want to. But like I was able to do both the medium season and the easy season, and we still have 3 days and 23 hours left, so almost 4 days left on it, and those were not hard to do. So again, you can take your choice. This is the second crate of these that I've been able to get, and I really didn't have good luck on that crate. It gave me an item that was worth less than what I could sell the crate for. So let's go ahead and see what I get. All right, I got a buzzsaw. That's not too bad, but if we look at it, the current price is 130 because most people don't want the buzzsaw. And if I go to trade it, even in the sell market, the max that I could get right now would be 170. So my take home would be 153. I literally just lost, let's see, 150, 60, 70, 80. I literally just lost 30 coins by opening the crate instead of selling it. So that's why I recommend sell all the crates. Just sell them. Yes, it's nice, but this part is not worth as much as the crate is. So sell it. The third tip is going to be paying attention to your daily/weekly cap. This was something that I was unaware of. If you hover over the battle button, it says you have a energy boost where you gain 400% reputation in battle. This resets every day, and it goes up to 60,000 reputation, along with the fuel being restored every day. So every day, if you're playing, you want to make sure that you use your fuel, and you want to make sure that you use your battle boost, the reputation boost, because it is going to take forever once you hit like level 10 or 15-ish. It's going to take forever for you to go up. Like I'm level 20 with the engineers and 8 with the Nomads, and it just takes forever. That's your XP bar right there. I'm at like 60,000 of 226,000. It's insane the amount of XP that you need, which you can get these little items like the stop sign and headlights and bags and everything like that will give you experience bonus, basically reputation bonus, if you put them on your vehicle. So that is a smart thing to have. Now you will see, if I go into my build screen, that I have a tank right there, a fuel plus tank hidden in my vehicle, and I also have a fuel barrel, which brings me to another tip. You want to make sure that you have both of these items on your vehicle for PvP. It is not necessary in raids because you don't earn fuel in raids, but the only way for you to earn fuel is to have these items, at least one of these items, in your vehicle, stay alive, do not let the item get destroyed, and win the match in order to get fuel. Again, that only happens in the PvP, which is basically anything in missions, and I believe you can also do it in brawls. It does not happen in raids. It's my next thing with raids. Raids, not everyone is created equal. Prime example, the sieges are harder to do than almost anything else except heist. Heist is harder than siege. It also depends upon the map, but you can highlight it, see the map that it is, see the enemy type that it is, and you can go from there. Convoys can be easy if you have a team, but they can take a while. The whole advantage to a convoy is you can actually stop the truck. You do want to try and do a couple raids, every day, because you can get the copper and you can get the coupons. So that is extremely beneficial. The other thing, another tip, when you get to level 17, as soon as you can, make a Leviathan. It is a beast vehicle, and you basically send it out for 1 day at a time. If it wins, then you can go ahead and get copper. Like right now, this is like a 10,000 power score Leviathan. And the great part about this is your Leviathan uses all the parts that you currently have in your storage. So if you want, I can go ahead and test drive the Leviathan. Now, remember that you cannot actually use this vehicle. This vehicle is not something that you will ever control outside of this little test drive. This little test drive is the only time that you can ever control this vehicle. And at that, you can't control the weapons. You can only ever control just driving it. So basically what you do, get an idea for how it shoots, how quickly it can destroy another vehicle, and if you like it, then go ahead and send it out into battle, and if it gets deployed and wins, it will give you copper. And that copper is very valuable because you can sell the copper, or you can just hold on to it yourself. Another tip with crafting is it doesn't really matter. When you craft a part, you have to buy a workbench, and then it takes a certain amount of time and parts in order to actually craft that. It is better to craft the purples. It's a little cheaper to craft purples, but it's about the same to craft blues as it is to just sell the material. Because like you could sell, for instance, for the Spectre, I could sell the drones, I could sell the defenders, I could sell the vectors, the copper, the wires, and the scrap, and I would have almost the same amount as if I wanted to buy one, because again, you can press Y on the item and you can see how much that it's selling for versus how much that it's buying for. And the market is kind of cheap on these right now. Basically, the more people that are playing the game, the less expensive that items are going to be. So you can definitely look at items ahead of time compared to, waiting until you unlock said item. So that's pretty much it for the basics, except for one last piece of information that I overlooked, and that is when you hover over an item, you can see where it says received, like for me, 57 of 2,800. Limit will reset in 6 days, 23 hours. That is a weekly cap. When you first start the game, your cap will be lower until you level up. And then as you level up, the next week you will have the increased cap. So if you're not getting scrap, for instance, go to like a Get the Wires playlist. But everything does have a weekly cap. The wires, the scrap, the electronics, all of that has a weekly cap. And wires are basically the most profitable. Wires pretty much sell for double the price that scrap sells for in the per 100 rate. So just something for you to keep in mind. Now to show, I'm going to go ahead and do one raid. I'll do an easy raid, which is only going to reward you with like 3 coupons, and I'll probably get maybe 5 copper. I could do a convoy, but convoys take a considerable amount of time if you don't have a good team, and that's a medium raid, which you have to be a power score of 3,000 to do. So while I'm doing this, there are a couple other things that I would like to mention, which this is a big thing that I ran into. Keep your power score low. Initially, you're going to get a lot of really cool things. You're going to get maybe your first blue item for like reaching level 10. And you're going to be like, oh my god, this is so awesome, I want to use it. But it's going to put your power score up to the point that you get placed in brackets you really don't want to be in. Where everyone has better armor, better engines, and better weapons, and you get destroyed. So keep your power score low. When you are doing these little missions, now you'll see I do have better weapons, so targeting weak points helps out a hell of a lot. If you target their weapons, like I have the health and the armor that I can actually target their weapons and take some hits, but you can basically destroy the structure if you destroy both or all of their weapons, because depending upon the difficulty of the raid, these platforms will have more and stronger weapons on them. Also, cannons work really well if you're still a little bit squishy and you cannot actually take the damage. If you have a cannon, cannons do a very, very effective job at taking those structures out. With that being said, cannons will regenerate ammo in a minute and a half once they run out of ammo. Machine guns have infinite ammo, except they can overheat. Same thing with almost all the miniguns. They have infinite ammo, except for the orange weapons, which actually then have a ammo count. They do not have infinite ammo, and they can run out and overheat as well. Missiles have a set amount. Cannons have a set amount of shells, but cannons will restock ammo over time once they run out. That cannon just took off one of my weapons, which is not fun. But yeah, it's entertaining. It definitely is. And you'll have to play around with it a little bit to get a feel for how things work. Now I'm going to show you one piece. I intentionally want my vehicle to get destroyed here. That's why I'm not shooting that guy with the auger, who is trying to kill me. I am just trying to get some damage on this pump jack. And then I will actually self-destruct, which if you click in both sticks, you can self-destruct your vehicle, dealing damage to anything around you. And you get 1 free respawn per raid that you do, which is something that I did not know about initially. And I believe a lot of people did not know about initially, because I see a lot of people doing these easy raids and they die once and they don't come back into the game, which really defeats the purpose. So you do have 1 free life per se. After that, it costs either repair kits that you can craft. They're not really worth the cost to craft, but you can craft them. Or you can pay coins to respawn. Paying the coins to respawn, I wouldn't recommend, though. So you can see where people could fail these raids. It helps to have a faster car. I'm using my PvP car, which is a no-no because I have fuel tanks in it. They're basically a waste of space to have fuel tanks. Since you can't earn fuel in the raid, I just didn't want to completely rebuild a car. Another thing that you should keep in mind is hiding your fuel tank or generator. You can get a generator that will allow you to have more power, but all of those items explode when they're destroyed, so you want to be able to hide them. Hiding them is a key part of the game. It's also a key strategy in PvP, is exposing the enemy's fuel tank or something like that in order to do more damage to them. So as you see, I got my copper and I got my couple coupons, which that limit resets every day. You get more for doing a medium raid than you do for doing an easy raid, and that's because if you look at it, it says you earn 1 piece of copper per 120 reputation you receive, whereas if I go to a medium raid, you earn 1 copper for every 35 reputation you receive, and if I go down to heist, which is currently on the hard difficulty, which is insanely difficult to do without a team, you get 1 copper for every 12 reputation that you earn. However, that costs 100 fuel, medium costs 40 fuel, and then invasion is where you fight other players' leviathans, and it does require you to be level 10 to do it. You only earn 5 coupons, and you earn copper based upon how many leviathans you destroy. If you destroy 1 leviathan, you get 3. If you destroy 2 leviathans, you get 10, and if you destroy 3 leviathans, I would get 21. Now, that does, I believe, scale with your power score. The more power score you have, for every 1,000, you get a couple extra copper, but you also face increasingly difficult leviathans. The other thing that I would like to do real quick is just a PvP match to give you a general idea of the PvP. The matches do queue pretty quickly. Usually I might have to wait maybe 20-30 seconds, just depending on what's going on, to find a game. So that is relatively easy to do. And overall, if you have any questions or anything, make sure that you ask. It is a PvP game, so people can get kind of competitive. When you're playing with randoms, there are kind of metas in the game, so you do want to stick with other players. This kind of just goes without saying that you want to play almost a little bit defensively, because there's 3 ways that you can win. You can actually win by eliminating the enemy team. You can win by having more surviving vehicles than the enemy team. You do have to watch out for that right there, which is a prime example. I am not going to survive because there is a melee meta in this game. Melee and shotgun is a meta, especially at higher power score, which I really should be in a lower power score bracket, but I really wanted to test out this purple weapon that I have. So that's why I'm in the bracket that I am in, and just trying to stick with these couple random teammates, making sure to keep a little bit of distance because, well, I'm halfway to destroyed. So that's not good, and I want to survive and I want to get the fuel, but in order to get the fuel, you have to win. So you can see on the right-hand side of the screen the enemy players that are left alive, your teammates that are left alive on the left-hand upper side of the screen. But then there is a third way for you to win, and that is by capping a segment of the base. So this circle at the top of the screen next to the timers has 3 segments. If you cap a segment of the base, that segment does not uncap. So in other words, if you have 1 segment of the base capped, and you are the sole surviving member on your team, the enemy team can have an entire team left alive, but you will still win the game. Like, we're about to win the game right here because we have more people capping the flag, even though we have about the same number of players. Actually, we have like 1 less player, so we won because of technically a base cap. And because of that, I got the wires, I got the fuel, 10 from my fuel plus tank, and 5 from my fuel barrel. Now, if you do not win, if you die, if the fuel barrel gets destroyed, or the match is a draw, you will not get the fuel. Last thing, when you are queuing up for this playlist, in the scrap category, basically anything get the machine gun, shotgun, cabin, wheels, or cannon, you will guarantee to get scrap, and you can then have a better chance of getting one of those pieces that it shows on the list. But you are not guaranteed to get that. There is a random chance that you can get a piece like I did in my very first couple games of this. I was playing in the Get the Machine Gun playlist, and I actually got a cannon, which I was super excited about initially, but then the novelty of the cannon wore off. Cannons are very good. It just depends upon your play style, how you wish to play. That's going to really determine what you want. I am trying this purple weapon, which is a weapon that I really like, but as you can see, the back half of my vehicle got completely blown off. I do not have any traction, and I probably will die to this guy with the cannons simply because I cannot currently remove his cannons, and he just removed my purple machine gun. So yeah, this is probably going to be a death right here. There's his buddy, so I will try and self-destruct, but he will probably kill me before. Yep. So yeah, he won. Prime example of you can get completely screwed over if your teammates are not with you, and some of the weapons are devastatingly more powerful. This guy that I'm watching right now has 5 of the white cord machine guns, and that is more powerful than my 2 blue machine guns and my purple machine gun, because he can put 5 bullets in the same targeted point, whereas I can only put 3 bullets. So there is a little bit of balancing that needs to be done with this game, but overall I hope that these general tips and tricks that I have found to help me will help you. If you have any questions, have an idea for another game you want me to play, have an idea for a video that you would like me to cover, by all means, let me know, post a comment, and I will be happy to get back to you. As you've seen, I got the win reward, which is the radio, I got my scrap, I got my XP, but I did not get fuel because my vehicle was destroyed. And in PvP, there is no respawning. Anyways, hope you enjoyed. Until next time, stay frosty. Of course, remember to like, comment, and subscribe.